So, as I was thinking about what we're going to talk about this week, I realized that this would be a great week to discuss heaven's peace, the peace that only heaven can give us. And of course, the teleprompter's futs in here too. The peace that only heaven can give us. And so, welcome to Not Church. I'm the stumbling decky Peter Panagore, ex-clergy, near-death experiencer, and a modern mystic, reliant on the divine grace and the uplift of the presence itself. That's my whole life. And my life's purpose is to channel this one light, and my mission is to help you find this peace inside yourself, this light that you probably, if you're here, you probably already found it. But if you're searching around for it, we can help with that as a community, as a group. Um, but to help you understand it and work myself out of a job, because all you need is the light. You don't need a person like me or anybody else, but it's good to be in community, because in community, there's this multiplication factor that happens. But I guess what I'm saying is once the light happens and you experience the light inside yourself, this peace that you are, that is alive inside you, then you'll discover that that's all really you do need. And so I'm trying to we have formed. I tried and we did form, and we had a great retreat last weekend, a community of seekers and experiencers who understand the world's need for this peace with a capital P that lives inside us and flows and is at rest. And so it comes to each of us, no matter where we are, no matter who we are, no matter what we've done. And we never really need words to explain it when it's present in ourselves. We may try, but it's really hard to explain it to anybody else. And you don't really need words. You just need to be in the light itself. And so the whole goal here, and we're going to come to what we're going to talk about in a minute today, is instead of trying to bring the light to ourselves, just to increase the space for the light inside ourselves and let the light, the energy, the peace do its own job. We experienced some of that. Hey, thank you, Roxanne. Thank you so much for the super chat. We experienced some of that last week at our retreat, a lot of it actually, where we practiced the emptiness of self, and in collective and group, we were able to. One person had his first transformative experience, and he'd come to the retreat with somebody else, and didn't expect to hang out with us, and then had this out of body experience because we were together in a collective practicing what we were doing, and so today we're going to understand this piece that comes from NDE. This piece comes from mystical experience. This piece that Jesus talked about, the Aramaic Jesus, the Aramaic translations in the Peshitta, and his perspective. And we'll be able to see and understand the truth and the value of this, and understand what Saint Francis of Assisi was talking about. But let's take a moment here. Love the after effect of the so much joy out of the retreat. Yeah, thanks, Rose. Me too. I had the glow, the afterglow of the retreat. Let's take a moment here and center in together as we did there. And if you're joining us and you weren't there, join us, and you'll find the energy inside yourself. Let's take a moment. Take a few breaths. Peace be with you. And I said this and I heard this. Peace be with you, and also with you, while I was growing up in the Catholic Church. In John 14:27, Jesus tells his disciples, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives it to you, do I give it to you." This peace is an entirely different experience. And before I died, I didn't understand Jesus' meaning of peace. But after my first near death experience, after being born again in my life 2.0, I understood, because the peace that Jesus talked about came back with me. And it was this energy inside of me, and it was tactile, a feeling of it was tactile, and like heat and warmth and fire and tingle an energy, shifting my perspective of myself and my life and everything around me and everyone around me permanently. Joy and bliss and connection to all living things. This kind of peace isn't the absence of war. This kind of peace can be felt during turmoil, during anxiety, during stress, way down deep inside. Peace can feel like it's like this Shakti pot, this energetic transference between people. And like for most of you who were on the retreat last week, and we felt this in the circles that Dr. Kendall led, and at other times too, but particularly when we were gathered together in a circle in concentration and meditation. Uh, Hold on a second. Betty can't get in. Hey, Betty, check your email. I had to send a new link. Okay. I appreciate that you reached out. So after my first NDE, I noetically understood that peace is also this prana energy. The Holy Spirit, Christianity calls it, this radiant energy of peace. Jesus called it peace itself. And when I came back the first time, this unending, unceasing, unspeaking, wordless sound that was a roar that was silent kept saying, peace, peace, peace inside of me, giving me this security, safety, protection. I want to talk a little bit about the action of this peace before we get into a little more what it is and how to find it. St. Francis of Assisi, I think he said it best. Lord, I'm just going to read it. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. This is the result of the peace. Where there's hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It's in pardoning that we are pardoned. It's in dying that we're born to eternal life. This was perhaps the greatest prayer that I could ever imagine. Of all the prayers in all the world, this is the one that spoke to my heart after I died. And it created a space for living in this constant stream, this calmness, this resounding roar that resides in my soul, is my soul. Even in all the worries and trials and tribulations, because it always tells me who I am, where I'm from, and to whom I belong. And I understood that if only I learned to listen, it would say to me continually, more deeply, more profoundly, more eternally, calmness, peace, safety, security, wholeness, healing. And it would engage and has engaged every aspect of my life, even in the worst of times of my life. And so it was, and so it is. And so what I figure is my job is to share the peace with you and help you find it if you haven't, and channel this powerful eternal peace inside yourself for the benefit of everyone around you. R.I.P. This was Halloween just the other day. R.I.P. Rest in peace. We see this on headstones. But why wait to rest in peace when you can feel it and live in it now, in the midst of your life? And maybe you've had a mystical experience or a Kundalini awakening or some kind of spiritual transformation. Well, if you have, you can cultivate this. We can cultivate this in our inner channel, in our individually, but more easily collectively. And we felt this at the retreat last weekend when we were gathered together in those times of prayer and meditation. It was a magnification that lasted, as Rose said, the afterglow for days after. And we do this at Mystic Tea Salon. We do this at our Kriya Yoga group. We do this at our meditation group. You do it in lots of other places too. It just doesn't, not just our group. It's you bring it with you wherever you go and whatever group you're in, as long as you're dropping into it inside yourself and it works collectively, even if you're doing it by yourself. And you can give yourself a belly full of peace every day to live in, to lean on, and to give away. My peace I give to you, he said. This is a Shaktipat he gave. This is a divine energy that he gave as to his disciples. And it's not just Jesus, okay? It is this divine energy that we feel when we're collectively in the space of our heart together. Maybe you're feeling it right now. I am. I definitely am. This peace is the assurance of eternal self in the here and now. Abide in me as I abide in you. As you branch, taking this again as a quote. Abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. As we abide in the presence of the channel of the peace, that's where the peace comes from. The actively being in the peace is where the peace arises from for us. And that's a quote from John 15. To abide is to be intertwined. And this is, I'm going to get into the Aramaic now. To abide is to be intertwined with the notion of love. The word conveys this enduring bond that Yeshua, Jesus in Aramaic, Yeshua invites us to cultivate with the divine, the Allah, as we talked about weeks and months ago. Our abiding connection opens us to the living experience in this intermittent and beginning and increasing over time, permanent sense of peace and love and light and assurance. Our personal and group meditation practices that we have here and elsewhere, those, well, they grow it inside us and make space for us and teach us how to abide in the vine of the presence, the channel of the divine flow. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. The Aramaic term for peace is shlama. Shlama, like lama with a shlama from the Peshitta. And it translates as peace, and yet its richness conveys this deeper meaning of wholeness, completeness, and soundness. There's a solidity to this, a wholeness, a completeness. This peace is the totality of the light itself that brings this radiant calm in tumultuous circumstances. And this conceptualization by Jesus is an experience of peace that's profoundly multi-layered. For instance, he says, "My peace I give you." It's unlike worldly peace, which often implies the absence of conflict. But this is not the absence of conflict. This is peace in the midst of conflict. This peace, uh, it has to do with the lack of fear. When one rests inside the safety and security and wholeness of this energetic experience of the peace, there's no room for fear. Fear is dissipated, dissolved, gone. There's this calmness when we're entered deeply into it. It brings healing and wholeness. And it feels like it can be fleeting. And sometimes it's not here when you need it most. But when you dive inside yourself, you can find it if you cultivate a space for it. Maybe you got this peace as a gift in your spiritual experience. Maybe you got it in your NDE. It can be cultivated and grown and brought into life, especially in this time of tumultuous, anxiety in our country, in the world, right this week. It's a gift of liberation. This peace is a liberation because unlike worldly peace, this provides an ongoing communication to the origin of our being. Think of the grapevine as the liquid, the water flows through the vine. The water of channel of peace flows through you and feeds the fruit that you are. It's the original goodness, our original self. It's where we're from. It's to where we're going. And if we allow it, it can be where we are now. It's to whom we belong. It's what we are at the core of our being. This peace I leave with you. This peace eliminates fear, and it can be felt and grown, especially, as I've said, in community, because it's tactile and practical. I want to thank everyone for coming to the retreat, and thanks for those for who organized it and participated in the peace bringing. It was fantastic, and you may have noticed that I often begin my greetings by saying peace. What I'm saying is this not worldly peace. May the peace be with you. May you experience this peace of the divine inside you. May it always sustain you. May it give you confidence and hope, healing and wholeness in a profound and permanent way. You don't need to wait for death to rest in peace. You can rest in peace in the here and now, even in the middle of all the turmoil. Because when one knows the peace, one knows the divine, and there is no separation from that. I hope you're going to join us at Mystic Tea Salon, which starts now. I'll see you there in a minute or so. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tolerating the tech stuff. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to end this stream and go over to Mystic Tea Salon. The link is below. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being here after that troubling start. Peace be with you. See you soon.